Tired is every mother's middle name. Hi, I am Briana Tired Jones.
And,
Uh,
yes, and I am Erica Tired Oliver. It is great to meet you all.
right, nice to meet y'all. Pleasure to reintroduce ourselves. Those are our names. Because motherhood, but I think that's the beauty of the podcast, and we said that from day one, episode one. We'll never run out of things to talk about or areas where we can discover new connections because there's always something new when you have a kid, and you have two now. So
Two of them with two very different personalities and two different, very, very different ages. So it's, on my toes constantly. They keep me sharp. That's all I can say.
yeah, I'm sure you got two under five.
Golly. And that's it. That's it. Nobody asked me again if we're going to try for a girl, because that's not happening. I'm quite happy with my two boys, and mommy can't do any more than that.
Boy momming. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with that. I feel like we should go back and like listen to episode one because I feel like we talked about, or season one, because we talked about like having second kids and like where
Mm-hmm.
we were with that, and the fact that like we're on season three and you've managed to make and bake and
Right.
like get through the first trimester is just crazy.
Yeah.
It shows you how fast things go and how quickly things can change. And that's kind of the purpose of this episode. So full transparency, if you've listened to the entirety of this season up until this point, all of those episodes were recorded in 2022. It is
Correct.
now May of 2023.
Yes.
And due to us being mothers and millennial mothers that have a lot going on, we haven't had the opportunity to really catch up with each other since then,
Yeah.
aside from, of course, just checking in as friends and co-podcasters. But we wanted to use this episode to catch up with each other, to reflect on the episodes that we recorded last year, which became the episodes of this season, share what's new with our kids, the ones that you know and the ones that you haven't met yet,
Mm-hmm.
on Erica's side, and then just kind of reflect on this season. So um for myself, I am in a really, really good place. I feel like the last time we did one of these check-in episodes, I was about to start my new role at work, and it's been almost a year now in that role, and I absolutely love it. I was really excited, and my excitement was warranted, and I'm still really, really excited about the work that I get to do. I'm in a what's called the social impact space for the company that I work for, which means my whole job is about finding ways to advance equity for people. And it's really exciting and feels really good to have a 9 to 5 that is creating an impact in the world that hopefully my son and your sons and children everywhere and just people in general can benefit from. So I'm still plugging away at that. Trey is 3 years old now. He just turned 3. I was just telling Erica I haven't done the thank you cards for his party yet. I think it was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I don't know at this point, because I'm not even 100% sure what day it is. But yeah, he's 3, and he is a conversationalist, to say the least. Like, we talk all day, every day. He asks questions. We've arrived at things like, "Oh, mommy, no, you have to stop because the light is red." Or, "Mommy, how come the light doesn't turn yellow?" Well, why? We've reached that stage. We've
Yeah.
also reached I was telling Erica in our kind of pre-catch up before we started recording, we've also reached his doctor put it in a way that I have now started using. He's a three-nager. So he
Oh, yes.
no is a word now, and it's not
Uh-huh.
just like no to say no, it's no and then it's a stare down, like,
Like I said what I said.
right. And I've been navigating this whole idea of like gentle parenting versus the way a lot of us millennials were raised, and trying to kind of find my sweet spot with discipline for him. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. We had a play date at the park with some cousins last week. And while he was with, my older cousins coming down the slide, I guess the slide was wet and nobody realized it. And so when he got up, he's like, "Oh no, my pants are wet." And they said he was like, "I don't want to get in trouble." So when me and his dad walked over, they were like, "Oh, mommy, daddy, sorry, we didn't know the slide was wet." And then told us what he said. And I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about that. Should I be like happy and proud that he obviously respects our authority and knows that like he could get in trouble for doing certain things? Or should I be reevaluating my approach because
Yeah.
he doesn't want to be in trouble. So maybe that could be, an episode next season where we talk about discipline and just like that balance. But that's where we are. We're still working on potty training. So if anybody has any ministry towards or any words of offering towards my ministry, I will gladly accept them. Please keep me at the top of your prayer list because it's not for the weak.
At
But
all.
we're making progress. He understands the concept. He will go to the potty when prompted, but he does not tell me when he has to go. And everyone, I mean, again, we could probably flash back to seasons 1 and 2 when you gave me all of your tricks on potty training, the pull-ups. Just don't. I told Ashley, my cousin who we had on in the first season, or excuse me, in the second season, when your baby gets to be potty training age, don't even bother with the pull-ups.
Don't
Probably the
waste
worst
your money.
decision. Yeah, worst decision I made. I should have just thugged it out with the underwear and just been on some, Molly Maid for a few weeks or months.
Yeah.
But that's the approach that we're going to take now. He's moved to the 3-year-old preschool class and daycare, and his teacher is really, really awesome and said, like, if we work together, we can get him potty trained in a few weeks because he's really smart. He understands the concept. He'll say to me, because I'll say, Trey, why didn't you tell mommy you had to go potty? Because he'll go find a private space, his closet, behind the couch, wherever. So I know he understands the concept. And when I ask him, he's like, but I just want you to change me. And I'm like, I'm tired of changing your butt.
You're a
You're
big boy
3 years old.
now.
You're a big boy. And that's what I tie it in with other things. So are you a baby or a big boy? I a baby. Okay, well, you don't get to play with toys. Babies don't get to do that. Oh, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big boy. Okay, well, you can't be a big boy sometimes and a baby other times. If you're a big boy,
Gotta choose
you got to
one,
go
baby.
potty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of where we are. We're really good. We're in a really, really good place. We're happy. We hang out all the time, and it's just so cool to see the little like person he's becoming. Like,
Yeah.
and also to see the things that I've been saying to him since, forever, him starting in the things that I've been doing, the way that we interact. Now I'm starting to see that in other spaces. Like I stubbed my toe the other day or something. And he's like, oh, mommy, are you okay? Who did it? Like very protective of
Oh.
me. And mommy, it's okay. I'll apologize to him if I, lose my temper. And he'll say, it's okay, mommy. You don't have to say sorry. Because I tell him all the time, I put emphasis on the importance of taking accountability and you need to apologize, but don't just say sorry to say it. Like you need to know
Right.
why and so I'll ask him, well, what are you sorry for? I'm sorry for you. Sorry for me for what? And then he'll say, for saying no or for yelling or whatever. And so I was apologizing to him. I was like, I'm sorry, Trey. And one time he was like, sorry for what? And I was like, oh, okay, fair. And
Mm-hmm.
so I explained. And then other times he'd be like, you don't have to say sorry, mommy. I just love you so
Sweet.
much. So
So
we're in a good
sweet.
spot. Yeah. I'm like cherishing this time because your man's is large. The doctor said he's the size of a 4-year-old. He's 40 pounds and 3 feet 3 inches tall. And he's 3 years old. He's a fresh 3, just turned 3.
He weighs more than Elijah. Elijah is just went and he's 35 pounds.
Yeah, your man's is 40.
Yeah.
So I'm at that
He
stage.
doesn't look like he would be that. He's just,
No,
he's
yeah, he's
solid.
really he's just solid.
Yeah.
And his doctor was like, there's nothing to worry about. He's 98th percentile for weight, 99 percentile for height. That might be flipped. And she's like, it's fine because we knew that he was going to be a big kid from when he was a baby. So,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a really active kid now that it's starting to be spring, summer here in the Chicagoland area. Every day after school, if it's nice, we go and we play. And he loves to play
That's good.
outside, loves to play with toys. That's a big like kind of evolution in his development. His imagination is starting to blossom, which is really cool. So he will he's into the action figures or what he calls his guys. Mommy, I need my guys. Iron Man's, all the mans, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Superman, Batman. He loves all of them and plays with his toys. He plays really well by himself and with other kids. So I'm just trying to encourage that part of his development. But it's so cool to see him turn into like this little person.
It
It's
is.
crazy.
It's
He's
amazing
the
to
age.
watch it.
He's the age that Elijah was, I think, when we started. I think he was 2, about to turn
Yeah,
3, maybe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, it's crazy. It just flies by so quickly. It's Elijah just turned 4.
which is crazy because he's going to be in school next week and you get your money back from that daycare, girl. Yes. Not next week,
Jesus.
next year. Sorry.
4 is just, it's just crazy. He's so he turned 4 in March. He is he's ridiculously tall. It's just crazy how tall he is, but he's just so slim. He got
Mm.
that from his father. He did not get that from me. But it's he's just such a big boy, and it's like similar to how it was when you turn 1 and when you turn 2 and 3. It's like right around that time he kind of, his body knows that he's turning another year older, and he like flips a switch. So this time he's not really so much with the tantrums quite as much anymore. He's just very matter of fact about things, and he knows what he's talking about. And his
Mm.
thing right now is, you'll ask him or tell him something, and it's, well, no, mommy, I told you. It's like,
No, you like, whoop.
hold on, little boy, you told me.
Right.
You don't tell me. So it's that, and he's so well spoken, and he knows what he wants to say and what he's trying to say, and he is not backing down
Mm.
about anything. But he's still, obviously he's 4, he doesn't understand everything, so it's a real kind of balancing act now, because he is 4, I told my husband, it's like he's a real kid. He's not like,
He's not a
I'm not
toddler.
he doesn't seem like a toddler to me anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I have to have like real conversations and explain things like I would to like a 6 or 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Because he understands it and he remembers what I talked to him about. It's so amazing. And he has become a really great big brother. It was a little bit rocky at first, not with him having issues with his little brother. It's just, I feel like mainly my attention being taken away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the first couple nights home, his nighttime routine got changed up because I was always the one to do his bath and all of that stuff, and daddy had to do it, and he really just wanted mommy in there, and it was really tough at first because I was dealing with a newborn, trying to nurse and do all of that, and obviously everything culminates around bedtime, so
Yeah.
everybody's having issues. So it was a big adjustment going from 1 to 2, not only for me, but for him as well. So we've now gotten into a good space where he understands, baby brother is not taking attention away from me. He is, he's my brother. I love him. He loves me. We always are emphasizing that your little brother loves you so much. And because he really, he does. Every time he sees his big brother, he lights up and he's looking at him and trying to talk to him and all that. So it's good. And I think one of the things that was really a good suggestion I got from somebody that was older, that had just 2, I think, was that you kind of get them to help you, like ask them to help you do things, and it makes them feel like they're, important, and they're, part of everything. So like if I'm changing Isaiah's diaper, I'm like, oh, would you mind getting me a diaper? And he'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that. And he'll go get it and bring it back to me and all of that. So it's been really beautiful to see. And it's going to be, I think, very interesting to see how it changes as Isaiah gets bigger, because once Isaiah starts taking his toys and all of that, and he already has done it a couple of times where Isaiah will have a toy and he'd be like, oh, well, that's mine, I had it first. I'm like, you didn't. It's his baby toy. You're a big boy, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
So he is doing great. He is about to be done with this school year and start camp. So that's going to be good. Just trying to keep him busy for the summer because it's a lot. And then as far as Isaiah is 4 months on the 14th. So in a couple of days from when we're recording now. And this little boy, he's so sweet. He's a mess. It's so funny that he's just a complete, I wouldn't say opposite, but he's just totally different from Elijah as a baby. Just a different temperament, and his personality now that he's going into the 4th month it's really coming out. He's grabbing for things, he's picking up things, he's really like noticing like my face and my husband's face and like grabbing it. And I think he's starting to teeth. His hands are always in his mouth. I mean, it's just like a water fountain coming out of his mouth at all times.
I remember.
And a little bit fussy around that, but not too crazy. And he's heavy. He was like, we got him weighed at his last doctor's appointment, his 3-month, and he was 13 and a half pounds.
Oh,
and he
wow.
was 7 when he was born. So he's a little tank. But he is great. He's doing better with sleep. So mommy and daddy are doing a little bit better.
That's good.
We're working on getting rid of that middle of the night feeding, but
Yeah.
you know, it's okay. I'll take that over every 2 hours any day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm having flashbacks. It's
I mean,
tired. Can't nobody
with this
prepare you
one, it's
for.
hell. And I kind of dropped the ball a little bit on getting everything recorded that I wanted to in the very beginning and all that, because it was just so crazy. But I'm really going to kind of document those first 3 months, because they were like, this time around was really harrowing. And that's probably one of the other reasons, besides I'm too old and I only want 2 kids, that I would not have another one. It was too much for me. I'm not great at going with no sleep.
Yeah, it's a type of tired that nobody can prepare you for. I mean, honestly, it was part of the reason why we named the podcast Shit Your Mama Ain't Tell You, because it's something that a mother can only I won't say a mother, but a parent.
Yes.
But I think oftentimes it lands with mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this episode 1, right? Like we're the moms, we're the center of the universes for that first 3 months at least.
At the very least.
And then every 2-hour wake ups. And we're not.
And then when you have another kid on top of it, that has a schedule as well, that like I have to be up at a certain time to get him ready for school and all of that, make sure he's fed and all that. Like, it's going from 1 to 2 is definitely a major, major transition. It's not easy at all. Even with help. And, you know, I didn't have like a ton of help. I've had help, but it's just a lot. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, I heard, I can't remember where I heard this, but somebody said 1 is 1 and 2 is 20. Like, it's a whole different ballgame. I think that's another idea for maybe an episode next season, is exploring a few things. One, like what it's like to introduce another child, and then also like the dynamic between siblings, what you were saying about how like he lights up when he sees Elijah. That's another thing that's really blossomed that I've noticed in Trey. He is obsessed with his big brother. So I've mentioned before that Trey has an older brother who is 10 now. Jaden is 10. I think he was 8 when we started this podcast, maybe 8, about to turn 9. But he has matured, and I think him being Jaden, and I think him finally understanding like the role that a big brother plays. Like so they've had that moment of like, oh, we want to watch a movie. And I go with Trey's suggestion, and I tell Jaden, I said, well, what you want to watch, Trey can't watch. So as your big brother, like as the big brother, can you just kind of take one under the chin? And he's like, oh, fine, I'll watch this movie. And I'm like, hey, dog, I'm the older sibling. So I'm like, that's how the cookie crumbles for the oldest one. Like sometimes you have to step aside and let, you know, your little sibling have the grace. And then, you know, the examples of like, all of a sudden you want to play with these baby toys that I know you don't really care about as a 10-year-old. You just want to do it because it's your brother. So like that whole dynamic, I think could be like a really interesting episode. But on the flip side of that, like Jaden helps me with Trey. I heard him the other day, like, don't you want to go potty? It would make mommy so happy if you went potty.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I was acting like I didn't hear it. And so he got him to go potty. And then he was like, Bree, guess who went potty? Trey went potty all by himself. And they sleep together when they're here, and just like seeing their bond, it makes me feel better about like, if I don't ever have another child, Jaden I consider him my bonus son. But if I don't have a second child, a younger sibling for Trey, he still has that like sibling bond and connection. They're so close, and he just is obsessed with his brother. I'll be like, "Don't you want to see JJ? Okay, we got to eat your vegetables. If you want to go see JJ, you got it." Like JJ is my my primary, and he's been such a big help as he's matured. So yeah, that sibling life is weird. And I also wonder for you being and let me save it for the episode, but I think it would be also interesting to explore you as an only, well, I know you're not an only child. I know you have siblings, but
technically, yeah.
Yeah, growing up as an only child, no, none of your siblings in the house with you. What's that like now raising siblings?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. We could definitely say that for the episode because it's even just the whole house dynamic is different than what I grew up with. It's a lot of noise, a lot.
Especially with boys. I've grown immune to it the past few weekends. My sister, who was on this season in our, I want to say maybe third or fourth episode, we've been trading off like every weekend just to give each other breaks. Like I'll keep her son and Trey Friday, Saturday, and then vice versa or whatever. So there's been a few weekends where I've had Trey, his brother Jaden, and my nephew, whose name is Isaiah, and he's 11. So 11, 10, and 3. And the amount of noise and the amount of jumping off like you. I don't know if you haven't gotten to that phase yet because Isaiah can't move around like
Elijah. But it's Daddy and Elijah that do that now.
Oh yeah, oof, yeah, and it's like you're like, what happened? Is somebody wrong? Something happened? Somebody got hurt? And then you're like, oh, okay. As a girl who grew up with a sister, I was totally unprepared for the way that boys play. So I think that's another episode, like boy moms versus girl moms, and even people that have the boy and the girl, like that dynamic of what play looks like, and to your point, what it sounds like, could be another, I think, like good episode for next season.
Definitely, that's definitely great. It's a whole new world. I don't think anything can prepare you for it if you're not, used to it. It's not bad. It's just it's different.
Yeah,
mommy just needs like a good like on does Trey like to watch Bluey?
I hate Bluey. No, he does, but I refuse.
Elijah loves Bluey.
They have British accents just makes me feel weird.
I low-key love Bluey. I don't know why. I sit up there and watch it with him. But he and his dad are just running through the house. They call each other Bandit because they're doing all of that.
Aww.
And there's an episode that the mom is she's just, when dad gets home, she's just like, I need 20 minutes. I just need 20 minutes by myself and I don't need anybody to talk to me. And I'm like,
oh my gosh. You like, girl.
That is not the truth because mommy always needs 20 minutes at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's so telling and interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but I was like, how are you doing? And you talked about you didn't tell me how you're doing. You said how
I didn't notice because listen,
how the kids are doing, how Daddy and Elijah are doing, but how are you doing?
Mommy's doing good. I have my days, or I won't even say days. I have my like hour or two where I'm like, oh my God, I have so much stuff to do and I can't get any of it done. And this baby won't stop crying and I need to do this and I need to do that. And then I need to figure out what's for dinner and do all that. Like all of us do. Like our minds are going 24/7 all the time. But I definitely have felt better after having Isaiah than I did right after having Elijah. And I think part of it is probably because I have Elijah and I have to keep going. Like, there's no time for me to be overthinking things really, or like just getting down about things. Like I have to keep on going for him. But I really honestly have not felt like super down. I would say like when Isaiah was first home and he was really fussy and we're having gas issues, formula issues, all that type of stuff. There were times that I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like this is just too much. But that is also, a combination of things. It's not just that, it's also hormones and all that, incision healing, all that type of stuff. It's all a lot at once. But since then, and since getting into a bit of a routine and just feeling better physically as well, like my I had the postpartum preeclampsia again, and now my blood pressure
Oh, wow.
is, I'm off of my blood pressure medication. I've like weaned myself off of it, and my blood pressure is good. So like having those things kind of off my plate have made me feel better, and I'm not so worried, because being worried about your health on top of everything else,
Yeah.
it can be a lot.
A lot of
So
weight, a lot of pressure.
yeah, a whole lot.
Heavy.
So yeah, it's just trying to, I just am learning that I need to take things day by day, which I think all of us, especially as moms, have to remember. Like, we can't like
Mhm.
solve all of our problems and do everything we need to do in a day. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if we just take it day by day, get some things done on our list, and take it from there. It's
Yeah.
like, you can only do what you can do. And now I was talked about it a little bit on our Instagram. But again, I need to be more consistent with it.
No, please
About
do.
getting my body back, getting this baby weight off of me, because that's another thing that's like, I just want to be like pre-pregnancy. Like, why the
Yeah.
baby's out, why can't I just be like
Right.
how I was before? But that's not how it works. It took some time to gain this weight, so it's going to take some time to get it off. So I have started intermittent fasting, which I've done before. I've done it a few years ago, and it works for me. Of course, it is difficult in the beginning, getting into the routine of doing it.
Mhm.
But I've been doing it going on, and my sense of time is completely off, but I think maybe 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've lost probably like 5 or 6 pounds.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, it's making me feel better, and
Yeah.
starting to work out some, just doing some walking and stuff, just to at least keep myself a little bit more active. And I think doing that is gonna definitely make me feel better too. Cause like, when you don't really like the way you look, it
It affects.
that
Yeah.
hinders you being able to do a lot of things that you want to do.
Yeah. 100%. I am. I like, just along in that same vein, I was like, okay, he's 3. You can't say his baby weight no more. You gotta get your shit together. So, because I had lost, all my baby weight and got down to pre-pregnancy, but I think I shared this before in one of our episodes. Like, I wasn't happy with my pre-pregnancy weight. So it was like, okay, now I got to get back to like where I really want to be, where I was in past years. And then, life gets crazy and you stop prioritizing yourself. And so I
Mhm.
gained some of that weight back. So now I'm on a renewed mission and been working out with my sister, which is nice to have like an
Oh, I saw that
accountability
on
partner.
Instagram. Yeah, that
Yeah,
helps.
it does. And it's been really good. And I feel it really does make a difference. Endorphins really do work. I was
Mhm.
sharing with Aryka in our catch up before this. I've just been having a lot of anxiety lately. I know where it's from and I can manage it, but the workouts really help because I don't feel it when I'm working out because I'm
Mhm.
thinking about the workout. It's like you can just kind of, your mind could just go blank. So, but I also want to say just a reminder for you, but for other moms in general. And I love that this is what our podcast is built on because it was our first ever episode. You just give yourself grace. Like, you're
Yes.
doing an excellent job. He's only 4 months old. Like,
Right.
the fact that you feel like you're making progress in terms of like finding that balance with the new dynamic with your family, and
Mhm.
it's also a new dynamic with you and your husband, it's a new
Mhm.
dynamic with Elijah, and like
Yeah.
there's so much intersectionality between the 4 people that now live in your house plus your dog, like
He's stress on his own. So
right. So just give yourself grace, and
yeah.
in due time it'll all settle in, and I think you'll find a routine. But I think that that would be fascinating to talk about, in even if y'all don't care to hear it, I do. And to have the discussion for, one of our episodes or 1 or 2 of our episodes in the next season. And like, if y'all that are listening have any suggestions, or if anything that we've talked about so far in this episode or in this season you want to hear more about, or any topic that we haven't touched on that maybe is resonating with you or something you're struggling with, please reach out to us on Instagram and on our Facebook and let us know, because like we said, there's like infinite number of things that we can talk about when it comes to raising children and being a mother, because
For
these
sure.
kids be trying you.
Listen, it's constantly changing, and it's a lot, but we can do it. And there was one thing also I wanted to touch on quickly. as you guys know, or you may not know, we not only do the podcast, but we also put the actual video on YouTube, so you guys can watch the video or listen, whichever you prefer. I just want to remind people, and Briana, I don't even know if you saw this, but in me uploading our videos and stuff like that, I noticed a couple of our videos had some comments that weren't like the nicest. And I just want to remind people that this is like a safe space. Like, we really are here not for us and not just for us to talk about ourselves and our kids and all that stuff. This is a community that we're really trying to build, and this is about love. We're all about grace and loving each other, and this is a community where we are trying to stick together and we don't want to tear each other down. So I just want to keep everything kind of upbeat and happy. And if you don't like something that we're talking about, or maybe don't agree, that's totally fine, because not all of us agree. Briana and I do different things with our children. All of us do. It's fine. But just be kind about it. That's all we would ask, for
I
sure.
would, yeah, definitely echo that sentiment. I didn't see that. And okay. I would just know, whoever you are, you probably gonna get blocked, because that's how I move. Like, if you didn't do that already. But yeah, I would echo that sentiment. You know, this motherhood and being a caregiver or taking care of children in general is hard. Taking care of yourself is hard. I think we said that episode 1. And our goal with this is to, through sharing our own experiences and connecting with others and learning from their experiences and giving them a platform to share, we just want to create a safe space in through a medium that does not always feel safe, i.e. social media, YouTube, etc. So yeah, I mean, and we're all adults. So if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it at all. Okay?
As simple as that.
Or you don't get blocked, because that's how I move. This block finger, I got a trigger finger, ta 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 ta, and I'll block you in a minute. So
exactly.
thank you for
and
saying
listen,
that.
we don't want to have to do that. And listen, there's plenty of other videos that you can watch on YouTube that, you know, support what you believe. So
yeah,
let's just keep it nice.
Yeah, be nice, be adults. Okay, thank you. Because you know, as soon as we wrap, I'm finna go to YouTube and look at our comments, because and I'm just gonna block them. It's fine. It's totally fine, guys. But no, in all seriousness, yes. Let's be kind to each other, because life is hard enough, and raising kids is hard enough without, you know, being mean to each other.
I concur.
So I think, you know, like we said, the purpose of this episode, we really just wanted to like level set with y'all. It had been a while since we've really had an opportunity to connect for real. Like, you know, obviously we stay connected through social media and texts and things like that. But this was, you know, a time for us to really catch up and to reflect on this season. It seems like a long time ago that we recorded some of these episodes.
Yeah, it really was.
A lot has changed, but it's been really cool. It's always such a humbling and cool experience when I get a notification on my phone that like new episode of, and it's like our faces. It's
right. It's still surreal.
Yeah, it's still so cool. And I love listening to our episodes and having like family and friends, and even people on Instagram, you know, comment and send us DMs. For the people who have shown us nothing but love and kindness, thank you so much for your support.
Sure.
And I think we kind of want to
keep doing this if it wasn't for y'all, for sure.
100%. Thank you. Yeah. And our goal is to, like we said, just continue to grow the community and have more opportunities for people to come on and share. And it's not always, you know, it's not about us. It's really about the fact that this shit is hard and you need allies and you need support throughout. But I feel like a good place to maybe like wrap up the episode and the season is to like reflect on this season and maybe talk about some of our favorite episodes or moments. Or I mean, I really love this season and the way it was structured. I feel like it was so cool to just kind of go through like each age and talk about the things that we experienced, but then have the opportunity to bring people on that are like, have made it over the hills of potty training and the valleys of the first day of school. Like they've been to places in the land of parenthood that we haven't yet. And it was really cool just to get their perspective on things. I don't know. It's really hard for me to pick, but I think my favorite episode was the teenagers episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because two of the children, or I guess they're not children anymore. One, because two of the teenagers that were referenced are Trey's cousins, Camille and Christian, and I have known, like, I went to the baby shower for when Melody was pregnant with Christian. So the fact that he's like driving now, has a car, has a job, about to be
Crazy.
17 years old, child, it's already like crazy just to realize that I've watched them grow up, but to hear Melody talk about like the relationship that she has with them, and I can see that, but to know from her perspective what the relationship with her kids is like, and to learn from her and have her talk about, her and Lisa, like, talk about the ways in which they raise their kids and how they approach the discipline and how they handle things like social media, like with everything going on in the world right now. I don't know about you, but I can get caught up in what the future may look like for Trey. And
Yeah, for
I get
sure.
anxious and I get scared sometimes. And so it's really, really nice just to hear that there is a way to, as a millennial, I say all the time, and I have conversations with peers, I feel like our generation is really the last generation to grow up without technology. Like, we were there
Oh
when
yeah.
text messaging started, when cell phones became like out the case, and it was like actually something you can put in your pocket, and start MySpace and to
All of
Facebook
it.
to
Yeah.
Instagram. And like, so I know how to use a rotary phone, and I know, like, they just switched the lock on my apartment now. It's not even a key anymore. It's a keypad to get inside. And
Oh
I know how to set that up. Like,
yeah.
I want that same, I know I can't create that same experience for Trey because technology is everywhere, but that like freedom that we had to just be ourselves and not be so tied to what other people are doing that we don't even know, and judging ourselves, like all of the stuff that comes with the additional access that we have now because of the internet and technology. It was just nice to hear from both of them that it is possible to raise children in that same vein with that same spirit, even though that's not the world that exists right now. Because I can only think, if it's like this now, what is it going to be like when our kids are teenagers?
I don't even know. They're probably going to be being taught by robots. Who knows?
Girl, in bunkers underneath the ground, because people
Like who
run up and do
knows?
crazy shit in schools. Like,
Yeah.
child, I have my bags packed just in case I'm gonna move to Canada if things don't get better. That's my that's
Nobody would blame you. It's too much going on.
yeah, it's a lot. But I think that's my favorite episode, and have other little like favorite moments, but I think as a whole that was my favorite episode so far from this season. What
Yeah.
about you?
I think mine was the school age episode with your sister Jocelyn. I think that one was really it was informative, and it was, I think why I enjoyed it even more was because, like, Elijah's 4, he's getting to be, in a year, well, he'll still be in this school because this school goes until actually first grade if we wanted to keep him there, which we probably will. But even still, like, the whole dynamic and everything changes from being in preschool to kindergarten to first grade. And just hearing what Jocelyn had to say about her experiences with her son Isaiah, and the things that he's had to go through and all of that, and how she's handled things. And it was just really nice to hear that, like, I feel like I'm kind of on the right track of how I deal with Elijah. And of course I could, there's things that can be tweaked because none of us are perfect, but just knowing that I am on the right track, and he'll be starting, school soon and all of that. And I just want to make sure that he's prepared and that I'm prepared to be able to have him have the best experience that he can. And hearing her and what she's done with her son, and it was really just very inspiring for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Just being, I mean, they just left here before I hopped on to do this, and seeing same experience, right? Like, of course, I've known my sister my whole life. And so when she had my nephew, it was like the fact that my sister as a kid is wild. Like my younger sister, the whole stereotypical, I should have the baby first. But she's really grown in her journey in motherhood. And my nephew has grown, and he's going to be in middle school next year. His foot is bigger than mine. He can't wear. We wore the same size shoe for like a month, and then I was like, I got all these shoes I never wear, and she's like, oh no, girl, the ones you gave him last week, he said they're too small. I was like, okay. So
Oh man.
he's like 5'3". He's 11. He's 5'3". 100 something pounds. You know, he's going to be definitely taller than me by the time he gets, I'm 5'5", by the time he gets out of middle school. So it's just so cool to see the growth. And then to your point, it's just nice to know that you're on the right track. Like you can get so caught in the day to day of it and just making sure baths are done and we get enough playtime and, you know, you're eating nutritiously, like all of the things that you have to do day to day that you look up and before you know it, these kids are grown.
Yeah.
And you're like just praying that all of the little decisions that you've made along the way have shaped into, you know, a really good, I mean, I think at least for me, like my wish for my child, I just want him to be happy, healthy, and I want him to keep his integrity and be the person that I know that he is, which is a kind, compassionate, funny. He's very funny nowadays. You know, loving, and I can go on and on because he's my kid, but just like not let the world and the yuckiness that can show up in the world
Mm-hmm.
paint him.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I told his dad the other day, I was like, I will always hold a soft and safe place for Trey, no matter how old he is. And he kind of looked at me and I was like, I know, like, that's your job to make him tough
Yeah.
and get him
That's
ready
not
to
our
face
job at all.
the harshness of the world as a man, especially a Black man. And I trust that you're going to do that. But my job as his mom is to make sure that he knows and is always comfortable in coming back to me and letting all of that wash away if that's what he feels like he needs to do. And I'll always be here. Like I'm just cherishing now, to your point, like I know when friends get introduced in school and extracurricular activities and sports,
Mm-hmm.
the oh mommy, I just love you. Oh mommy, I just want a hug, and wanting to just cuddle up in my arms. Like physically, he'll just be too big for that soon. Like
Yeah.
I miss when he could fit right here on my chest. So I'm just trying to like stay present in every phase because
Yeah.
I know that it goes by fast and I, you know, teeter back and forth about having another one. But then I hear, you know, wonderfully skilled parents of more than one child start to tell their stories. And I'm like, you know, maybe I'm all right. Maybe I'll get a puppy or something.
Yeah, don't rush into it. Definitely be sure that's what you want to do. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know,
It's a
it's a
commitment.
whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
But
all a blessing, and I would not change anything for the world. You know, I don't think any of us would.
yeah,
Children are definitely a blessing, and becoming a mother is, you know, it's a difficult job, but there's nothing more rewarding than being a mother.
100%. I think I've been, for all the things that I could say that are stressing me out or giving me anxiety, at the same time, I feel a very overwhelming and permanent sense of peace and happiness
Mm-hmm.
um, above it all. Like every day, I'm like, wow, I'm like, I love my life. Like, and Trey, I don't know that I ever had those type of thoughts before Trey. Not that I was like going through something, like my life wasn't great. It was great, but having a child brings a different sense of purpose to your life. And like the
Mm-hmm.
things that I used to stress out over now, even or before, I may still stress over them, but like having him run at me full speed to give me a hug and almost knock me over, like knocks all of that off of me. And it's just like, you know, this is really cool that I get to do this. And I just want to enjoy this moment. And I love that we have this community and this podcast that can help us document these moments. Like
Yeah.
I can't wait until he's old enough to, and he probably won't care, but you know, listen back. And like my nephew the other day, actually, I was like, yeah, I have to record the podcast next week. And he was like, what's a podcast? So that was a question I wasn't ready for. I was like, it's kind of like a radio show. And then I was like, wait, let me back up because you were born in 2012. So
Right.
a
So what's a
radio
radio
show.
show? Yeah.
Right. I was like, it's kind of like a talk show, but it's, you know, it could be one person, multiple people. So I had to like frame that in a way that he understood it. But he was like, oh, that's really cool. And so like I just think it's really cool that we have this fun and unique way to chronicle our journeys through motherhood, and super grateful for you for, you know, bringing me in on your idea. And I'm proud that I can't believe this is the end of season 3. And we're about
I
to
don't
move
know
into
how we
season
did 3
4.
seasons. It doesn't even seem like it
I know,
happened.
and you managed to have a baby in between it all, which is like
Who does that?
kudos to you. super badass super moms, that's who, because balancing it all but giving ourselves grace through it all. So we want to say thank you again to all of our supporters, and even the people who disagree. It's nice to have different opinions. We just ask that everybody keeps it kind, and again, we would love to hear your suggestions for next season, because whether you like it or not, we're coming back for season 4, baby.
Yes,
So
ma'am, we are.
if you have any questions, comments, now I sound like I'm at work. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, but no, in all seriousness, if you have suggestions, if you have your own stories that you want to share, or you want to like come on the podcast, please DM us on Instagram at Shit Your Mama Ain't Tell You. You can DM us on Facebook as well. We do have a Facebook page that's the same at Shit Your Mama Ain't Tell You. That's the username on Facebook. Definitely like, follow, share, and stay tuned, because season 4 is going to be coming at you sooner than you may think.
Yes, ma'am. We are so thankful, and stay tuned. There's a lot more coming.